Hello everyone and welcome back to Black Dahlia.
Excuse me, could you tell me where Mr. Finster's office is?
He's up there. You're welcome.
Excuse me, Mr. Finster? Jim Pearson from the COI. I've been assigned to investigate your complaint.
What the hell took you so long? I guess all my calls to Mayor Lausch finally got you guys off your cans.
Today we are going over the complaint that is in our case file, which has led us to either talking to Hank Finster, right here, or Detective Merlo. Might as well see what the origin of the complaint has to say. First, let's get a good look at his office. Oh, all the wonderful, lovely people that is over here. Also really gets a chance to really see how Jim Pearson, our wonderful new agent of the COI, really does talking to people. Because even just based with Sullivan, the first impression there seems a little bit stiff. So we'll see how his interviewing skills go.
What can you tell me about this brotherhood, Mr. Finster?
What can I tell you? Oh, what makes you think I can tell you anything? I'll tell you what it is, though. It's a Nazi conspiracy is what it is.
No, what makes you say that, Mr. Finster? The invitation has no swastikas, no insignia, no clear-cut signs of Nazi involvement.
Now, you mark my words, young man. This is a Nazi conspiracy, or my name isn't Henry W. Finster.
I'm gonna need some hard facts before I'm able to make that stick with my superior, sir.
Where do they find you guys? What do they just pull you out of a pumpkin patch? It's right before your eyes. Those screwy symbols.
You recognize the symbols on that invitation?
I've seen them all over Germany.
When were you in Germany, Mr. Finster?
Now, don't you give me that look.
Mr. Finster, I...
There is nothing wrong with Germany. My grandparents were born in Deutschland. We still have family there. The German people are upstanding, hard-working, God-fearing folk. And the American worker can learn a thing or two from them. The only thing wrong with Germany is that Austrian peasant and his gang of street thugs.
My apologies, Mr. Finster. I am only trying to establish the facts in the case.
Okay. It's been 15, 20 years now since I've been there. But I will never forget those symbols.
Do you have any idea what those symbols mean?
Of course not. I would never have anything to do with that sort of thing.
What do you remember about the man that gave you that invitation, Mr. Finster?
He's a no-good bum, I remember that.
Do you remember his name?
Hey, I employed a Nazi sympathizer right here in my own factory.
He was an employee of yours?
Of course not. I don't hire Nazis.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. Who's the Nazi?
Why did they send a boy to do a man's job? What are they trying to do? Drive me crazy?
Wait just a minute, Mr. Finster. That's not called for.
My foreman, George Hansen. I used to think he was a good man. Well, he drinks a little bit too much, but he's a hard worker. Well, anyway, how am I supposed to know he traffics with Nazis? Well, he brings this riffraff right through my doors, into my factory, right into my office. He could have killed me. He was standing as close to me as you are right now. Well, naturally, I fired him on the spot.
Riffraff.
Oh, you idiot. George Hansen. Haven't you been listening to a word I said?
Do you remember the name of the man that gave you that invitation?
Of course not. He never mentioned it. He said he was just a messenger.
Sheesh. Yeah, Sullivan wasn't kidding about him being a little bit wound up. Let's get more about this messenger, though.
Can you describe this messenger for me?
I already described him to that detective. Look, I even picked his photograph out of one of their books. Oh, but he didn't care. All he was interested in was that vagrant killer. Well, if you ask me, he's doing this city a big favor.
I wouldn't know anything about that, sir. Can you describe him again for me, please? For my benefit.
You know, if you guys had done your work in the first place, you'd already know this. Yeah, he looked like a killer. Real mean, squinty eyes, red hair, and the bushiest red beard you'd ever want to see. Hey, there's no mistaking this guy.
Well, at least that's a description that we can go on. Doubtful where this is gonna go.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find this messenger?
Of course not.
Okay, what about this other fellow, the foreman?
Well, I used to live in company housing, but I had him evicted, of course.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find him?
A man of my standing doesn't fraternize with his workers. Although I have been told that George likes to throw his money around a lot on payday. The men, they like this cheap whiskey saloon in the Roaring Third. McGilly's, McGarrity's, some kind of Mick name. McGinty's, that's the name of it, McGinty's.
Well, at least we got something out of it. Of course, he wouldn't know where the messenger is if he never met him until that actual encounter, but, well, maybe we can find the foreman at one point. I only hope it's actually to just leave and just go to the bar, which luckily is open to us now that he mentioned it. Lively place. With its share of 1, 2, the bartender, and the third guy over there.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight.
Excuse me while I talk over the radio person. If you are interested in hearing all the radio chatter that goes on during McGinty's bar, because there is a lot of it, I'll put all of this into a separate video. Can't talk to these guys, so I guess if I'm trying to look for this foreman, might as well talk to the bartender. Maybe he'll help us out. You never know until you actually talk to him. I was hoping not to, give him a diagonal stare. That's a little bit better. Sheesh.
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to be...
I never heard of him.
Listen, buddy, I'm not trying to cause any trouble for you. I just need a little help trying to find a friend of mine.
Yeah, friend, huh? Look, I got nothing to do with no lousy feds. I want you to do me a favor and scram, huh? And while you're at it, take that friend over there with you. Scaring away all my business.
Yep, business. Great. Those two people. Can't talk to him anymore, but he's apparently talking to this wonderful suited guy over in the corner. All by himself, looking, I guess, kind of suspicious. Doing an impressive thinking man position. Hello, sir?
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to work at the Finster munitions factory. Do you know where I might be able to find him?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I haven't made his acquaintance.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, this is totally the first thing I should be asking a complete stranger. Let's be nice this time, I guess.
What's your name?
Who wants to know?
My name's Jim Pearson. I'm from the COI.
Well, have a seat, Jimbo. The name's Winslow. Dick Winslow.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Winslow. What brings you here?
Oh, no need to be so formal. You can call me Dick. I'm just here for a drink.
Really? This just doesn't seem like your type of place.
Oh, why not? Why can't a working Joe like me go out for a drink? Can't he try someplace new?
Well, you just seem a little overdressed, is all.
Guilty as charged, sport. Not a bad bit of deduction, that.
And now for the
Oh, well, I
day's
might
news.
as well confess. You're right.
Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble
With
neighborhood
the
of
FBI.
Queensberry Run.
Really?
There, the police continue their exhaustive
What are you doing here?
manhunt for the torso
Staking the
killer.
place out.
As his
I thought I might get a
headcount
lead on the
hits
torso
7,
killer,
the
but
citizens of Cleveland
I haven't
raise
had
their
much luck
voices in
yet.
protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this
You're
insidious
new here, aren't you?
madman's terrible
Yeah, I just
work.
started.
Oh, you
The
don't
latest
say.
victim discovered
And,
by 2 children
what brings you
playing
here to
along the banks
McGinty's,
of the
Jimbo?
Cuyahoga River.
Well, I'm working on an
Man,
investigation of my own.
unidentified.
Oh, really? How interesting.
Meanwhile, in news from around the world,
Did someone
our
steal
boys
some
at
plans
sea
for a secret
captured an
weapon?
Axis
Huh?
ship in
Or
equatorial
commit an
waters.
act of sabotage,
The
perhaps?
Axis vessel
No,
unsuccessfully
nothing like
attempted a
that.
nefarious
I'm looking into a
voyage to
group of
plot its
possible
way
German
through the
subversives.
British blockade.
Well,
Our sources
perhaps
indicate
your men are on our
the
little
Axis
German
boat falsely
blacklist.
flaunted our very own stars and stripes.
You mean they
and
haven't
had an
told you
American
about that?
name painted on her pilot
Your
house
office
and
should have a
stern in an
copy.
attempt to pass itself
really,
off
I'd
as
complain
one
to
of
my
our
superiors right away.
Our
How
American
can a new
cruiser,
agent hope to
whose
succeed
commander
without the
was too
necessary
smart to
tools?
fall for
What
such
is
a
this
trick, however,
list?
and he immediately ordered
It's a
the
list
ship to heave
of
to.
suspicious Americans of German descent.
Last-ditch effort by the Axis
FBI's been
merchantmen
keeping
to
tabs
blow
on
up
them
their
for a
own
while
ship,
now.
their
Oh,
vessel
it
was
wouldn't take much
captured
for some of them to
without
sell out Uncle
incident.
Sam for a...
In
Uncle
other
Adolf,
local
huh?
news,
Thanks for the
no
information,
and
Dick.
near-zero
This
weather
list might come in
Russia
handy.
halted Nazi troops
Well,
dead in their tracks.
I should be going
More
now.
bad news for the
listen,
Axis as the
sport.
British began an offensive in
You're new
North
here,
Africa
so I'll
along
give you
the
one little bit of free
130-mile
advice.
Libya line. Score
Some of
one
the
for
people in your
Hitler, though.
department have stepped
Wire
on some
reports
toes, so,
confirmed that the Australian cruiser
be careful where you
Sydney
put your
was
foot
sunk
down.
by a German raider
remember that.
disguised as a Dutch merchant
It was a pleasure
ship.
to meet you, Jimbo.
I guess our mates down
Drop by
under
my
could use
office
a few
anytime.
lessons
Thanks,
from
Dick.
our own
I
boys
just may
at
take
sea.
you up on that.
In Washington today, Subaru Kurusu,
Certainly,
Japan's super
an
special
interesting
envoy to the United
guy,
States, is
Dick,
set to begin a
here.
round of talks with the State Department.
If I can say anything about Black Dahlia at this moment going on, is that despite having some lower profile actors, really only Dennis Hopper and Terry Garr are kind of the high profile actors in this game, everybody else does a pretty slick job. Pretty neat job of actually portraying their characters. Because I believe that Winslow, even though he means kinda well, on and off, that, well, he can be a little bit of a scummy chum.
Yes.
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
Our next avenue brings us back to Sullivan to talk about this so-called blacklist.
Sir, is it true that the FBI has made a list of suspicious German Americans?
Who have you been talking to?
Special Agent Winslow, sir.
Oh, yes, Agent Winslow. It's true, we do have such a list. When France fell to the Germans, a lot of people felt that it must be due to the work of a fifth column of spies and traitors. It got the boys in Washington thinking that if we weren't careful, things might happen the same way here. And, well, Mr. Hoover and his FBI set to work, watching anyone they felt could betray their own countrymen. Naturally, important Americans of German descent were watched most closely.
Could I get a look at it, sir? I believe there might be a connection between some of the names on that list and the case that I'm investigating.
Just remember, son, it's possible that any of these men on that list are hard-working Americans, no different than you or I. Don't go off all half-cocked simply because Hoover's men put a name on a list.
Yes, sir.
A very important item to show up now, the blacklist. And Sullivan's point right at the end definitely does make sense, because as we look through this list, we're going to find a couple people that, even though they're on this list, doesn't necessarily mean anything is really negatively against them. But if we make 2 and 2 together with the note that was in the office, our office now, which had all the scribbles on it, I'm guessing this list has to really do with the blacklist that we just got. Well, in terms of McGinty's bar, there's really not much we can do, because we don't really have much more lead in terms of the foreman. Finster's kind of a little bit of bone dry, but we do have another lead in order to follow up, which is Detective Marilow. Let's go see the other side of this complaint. So, instead of talking to a regular high-class man, see you next time, everyone, as we go and talk to the police.